and thanks for tuning in, and welcome back to All Access Pass. I'm your host, Jason Venner, and today, the one, the only, Chubby Checker.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And thank you for having me. Thank you, folks.
It is our honor to have you, sir.
Ooh.
I know.
It's really great being here and being on the ship and that show that we did Sunday night. We came on the ship to destroy you people. You did. We didn't want you to forget anything. We wanted you to just, remember that we were here because we never know if we're going to see each other again. Right. And the band and I, before we went on stage, I told the band, I says, don't forget to be wonderful. Why? Actually, because it's all about them. We're just a good excuse for the party. Make sure that when they leave, they're happy.
I don't know about you, but for the next election, I think I'm voting for Chubby. You've got my vote, sir. We have a saying, as many of you in this room know, there's a saying in the music business that when you go on stage and you do really well, you say to someone, and it's not derogatory, you say you killed or you murdered. That's what you say. And that was Bedlam, I think, on Sunday. I don't know how many of you didn't get to see that show. I hope all of you got to see it, but is there any other way to start a cruise like this than with a show like that? I mean, woo, talk about setting the tone. You did, sir. You set the tone for the entire cruise. Your energy, your show, it really brought everything together. I think it really made the Malt Shop Memory Cruise begin at that moment. So, thank you. Thank you.
The band and I, we just had a good time. We really live to perform. We live for the shows. And when we have a show, we think about it months in advance. And what are we going to do when we get there? What do you think they're going to be thinking? I mean, we don't take you for granted. We're worried. No, we want to do the right song. Open with the right song. Do you think they're going to like this? Do you think we're going to get the right Hucklebuck person? And sometimes we do the shake and says, do you think we'll get the right shake person? Because I don't know who's going to hucklebuck. I mean, I don't know who's going to come on stage and do the twist. I just pick people. I don't know what's going to happen. So I'm nervous as well. I'm nervous.
And you picked some good ones.
Yeah, but I went, after the show was over, it says, and did it go well? It went well. But it was just, I'll remember it. I'll remember that Sunday for as long as I live. It was wonderful. Thank you, folks. Thank
you. You make a comment there that actually is kind of interesting, and you're not the first performer of your status and stature that I've heard make a similar comment. You're very conscious of your shows. You don't just assume that because you're Chubby Checker, you're going to go out, the crowd's going to love you, and you're just going to walk off to standing ovations. You don't make that presumption. Your mindset before going out is, we have to work for this.
Well, the biggest problem I have is Chubby Checker.
What a great line.
That's the biggest problem I got. Because when we don't take anything for granted, we really are worried about the show. I think about it like the people that run the ship and the people that run the Holland American lines. From the time you walk on the ship, while you're here, while you're doing whatever you're doing while you're here, the people that service and take care of every room, the food, the lights, the air conditioning. I mean, they're nervous too, because they want you to come back. And when I do a show, I want you to remember that you had an experience, because the experience is like when a guy is cooking and he's a chef. The difference between a great cook and a great chef is not the taste, it's the sizzle. And what we try to do, we try to sizzle you.
Boy, you sizzle.
to make sure that you have an experience, because the greatest thing is the experience that you have. And so that when we travel around the country and you know we're coming to town, you think about that, because the show is, we live for the show, and we want to make sure that you really enjoy it, like the ship. You know, they want you to have an experience that you'll come again. And now, you know, to get a customer, okay, how do I put it? It's the insurance company. I always talk about them. I tell the insurance company, it's, you know, if I'm dissatisfied with them and they're doing something and I don't like it, I tell them, I say, you know how hard it is to get a customer? And they says, Mr. Evans, I says, that's my real name, Mr. Evans. He says, do you know how hard it is to get a customer? He says, yeah. And it's hard to lose that customer once you get that customer, but once that customer is gone, that customer is gone forever. And I realize that. So having said that, I always try to do the best I can, because sometimes I'm walking, you know, down the corridor in the ship, and 20 people say, want to take your picture, and I go, oh.
Wait, what do you say?
And you know, she says, how do you feel about that? I say, I hate it when they do that. I hate it when they don't do that. So what do? You make sure that you take care of them. And we'll take a picture. And usually when I do a show at a theater, and you know, we got 1,500, 2,000 people there, and I go in there, I go out and sign autographs, and I'm the last one to leave the theater. And when the last person comes along, and the last person I see, I'm the last one. After I finish with that, they're the guards there, the security,
Staff.
and the staff. I says, you finished with me yet? So, well, Chubby, and I wanted. I said, come on, finish with me yet? He says, well, I wanted to. Okay, finish with me yet? He says, we finished. I go home now? Chubby, you can go home now. Thank you very much.
But if I may, that is the reason that you've been a star for the decades and the decades that you've been a star. And a lot of these people will never reach that star status that someone like you has and will always have.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
We're going to cut to a quick commercial break, but do not turn the channel, do not leave the room. We're coming right back with more of the fabulous Chubby Checker. Welcome back to All Access. Once again, I'm your host, Jason Venner, and here we are back again with the fabulous Chubby Checker. Tell us a little bit about getting into the business. Now, you obviously, your work ethic is, I mean, we just got to talking about some of your work ethic. It's unbelievable. But you had to have been influenced and learned from some of the greats. Who were your influences when you were starting out? Who were you imitating, if you will?
There was my aunt took me to Andrews High School. It's Andrews, South Carolina, near where I was born. South Carolina. And there was a little kid named Sugar Child Robinson, and he was 13 years old, and he had a tuxedo and tails on, and I must have been maybe 5 or 6, and he was playing the boogie woogie piano with his band. He had 3 pieces, and I was afraid to even go on stage, but I had a feeling I wanted to do that. And then Mom took me to the Georgetown county fair in Georgetown, South Carolina. And I was watching this cowboy. His name was Ernest Tubb. And I don't think I closed my mouth the whole performance. I told Mom, I says, Mom, I want to do that. She says, what? I says, what he's doing. She said, Ernest, he's a cowboy. I says, Mom, I don't care. I want to do what he's doing. And that stayed in my thoughts all those years. And all I did was sing. And then Mom took me to the church, and she gave me things to do when the kids had things to do in church. And it was like that, because we lived on my dad's farm, and we raised cotton and tobacco and, feeding the pigs and the chickens and all that. And we really lived like the Amish people, because we had no electric lights and no running water. And if we weren't in the fields working, we were probably in church. And all I wanted to do was, that stayed in my mind. Then we had a play in school, and I was a booking agent. I was a booking agent. And I was getting, my cousin was the star, and I was getting her jobs. And it was the only play that I ever could remember, but I always wanted to be in show business. This is all I wanted.
Funny enough, as silly as this sounds coming from, we have a very similar story. I grew up with no running water, no electricity. I was off the grid. I swear to God, I grew up off the grid entirely. I was raised on a farm, the whole 9 yards. And you come from nothing, and all of a sudden you get onto something like that, onto the showbiz. Not that, again, with all due respect, obviously, when you get to your first big show and you're standing out there and you're just about to go on stage, and you're in front of however many people are there, what's the thought that goes through your head? Because you've come from small town South Carolina with no running water, no electricity, and seeing a country actor or artist on stage, and here you are about to go on for the first time. Is it I've made it? Is it terror? What is going through your head at that moment? That. Yeah.
What am I gonna do?
Yeah.
Because they're out there, and you only get one shot at this. Because if you don't do it right, it's going to be a long time before you get another chance. And there was a man named Lou Spencer, and he saw me perform on stage, and he said to me, he says, I think that this guy has something special. I would like to develop what he has. He was a staging artist. He staged people that he thought had talent, because at that time he had done something for Danny Kaye, Anthony Newley, and I forgot a few other people that he did shows for. He belonged to a group called the Dunhills, and they were great, very good dancers, and back in those days they called them huffers, and they were very good dancers. So to kill this thing about worrying about what the audience is going to think, he followed me around for about 3 years, and very expensive. And I said, you pay for the plane fares? Uh-huh. You pay for the hotels? Mm-hmm. You pay for the food? Mm-hmm. And then you pay me. Mm-hmm. And for 3 years, I would come off stage, and he says, what was this? What was that? He says, I've never seen such crap in my life. So I says, and I used to go to my room and just have tears come out of my eyes, because I thought I was. He says, you did this and you don't do this and do that. I'm the kind of person who can take a beating. If someone's trying to help me, I don't say anything. If you're teaching me, I don't talk back. I just don't. And where I come from, kids didn't talk back to their parents. Ooh, no, none of that.
They brought you in this world. They'll take you out of it.
No. I mean, if I said something to my father in my dream,
wake up and he'd know about it.
I would get it. So we, so when this man was beating me up, I just listened to whatever he says. And then I remember I started to get it. I started to feel it, started to get a feeling of it. And I came off stage one day and I stopped in front of him and I says, well. And he smiled at me because he was impossible. He really was. And then came up to my room and says, Chub, what? He said, I'm leaving. I said, you gonna leave? He says, everything that I've taught you will come back to you little bits at a time. He said, but I came to help you, to let you know that when you had no music being played on the radio by you, that your fans will still come to see you because it's going to make it possible for you to be a great entertainer so that no matter how long you lived in this lifetime that you're living, you will always have a show business career. So when you say, what do you think when you come out there and you see them? I'm still nervous. And I am, but I have that little confidence that if I can, someone said, can you remember the next song? If you can remember the next song, then you're on your way. Because sometimes you get so nervous, you forget what song you're going to sing next. And then all of a sudden you stop singing and you go, and then you go, oh, okay, now we'll do the next song. And I just think that I want you to be busy. I want you to be happy. By the time the show's over, because he's leaving already, and this is what we try to do, because we want to bring all those memories back. We want to bring back your childhood, and even songs that I didn't make famous, they were exciting to me. That's why, everything that I do up there has something that you can remember, especially when I say, "What doing, baby? What? Hey, baby, what's up? Hey, baby, thank you very much, baby." I'm like, there's something that you remember that just sparks a little bit, and I do that.
Well, I speak on behalf of everyone when we say, I think everyone looked down at their watch and was shocked that we'd been in that room for an hour. And you go straight through. There's not a ton of talking in your show. Like some acts will do 5 songs in an hour. You rocketed through that show.
No,
you didn't have a chance.
No, I talk. But I talk while the music's going.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because I talk getting ready for the next song, so you don't take too much time. And there's a few things you need to know about the performer, but you really came there to be entertained. You came to listen, have a good time. I think that's more important than anything else. Everything else is kind of like, you don't have to know. I love my grandchildren. I got beautiful ones. Oh, my grandkids are amazing. Really.
You sound surprised.
No, they're amazing. And I've been married for 50. In April, 52 years. Yes. And I married a Dutch girl, and she's right at home in Aruba and Curacao. She get out of a taxi cab and she's going to I'm having trouble with English, but she's speaking Dutch and when you look at my grandkids, it's just amazing how they look, because you look at them and there's one that looks like he's from India. Another one looks like he's from Cuba. Another one looked like she's from Egypt. And another one looked like she's from Sweden. Another one from Norway. Another one from maybe Finland somewhere.
Your kids get around the planet, Chubby. Good Lord.
They go from chocolate, and they go from caramel to blonde hair and blue eyes.
You got the color wheel.
and this really, and I'm walking with 2 of my grandkids and said, "Chubby, whose children are these?" I said, "Shut up, they're my grandkids." But it's a wonderful family. You have a good time, and it's very nice. And my children, we have a good time, and it's wonderful to sit around and just kind of like just enjoy the years that you've been here. That's just wonderful. Yeah.
Perfect break right here. Do not go anywhere. We're back with one more segment with the fabulous Chubby Checker. Hey, and welcome back. Here we are once again with the fabulous Chubby Checker.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Right off the bat, the question that is on at least 5 of these cards. Chubby Checker. Where does the name come from? How'd you get it?
I was working on 9th Street in South Philadelphia, 9th and Christian, and I got a job at the produce market, and my boss's name was Tony Anastasi. And I was looking for a job because I couldn't shine shoes in my neighborhood because all the gangs would beat me up and take all my money. So I had to find a better place to work. So I was on 9th Street, and Tony, I told him I would like to work for him. He says, okay. He says, I need somebody to work. I said, come on, Chubby. I said, who's that? And Tony, every other word Tony said was a swear word. And he says, I said, Chubby, who's that? He said, that's you. Well, he was a little chubby kid. I wasn't happy about him. Call me that. I says, you can't call me that. He said, you little SOB. I call it what I want. And my dad told me shut my mouth. So okay. He says, Chubby. I said, yes, sir. So I became Chubby, and I worked for him for about 2 or 3 years. I came into work at 5 o'clock in the morning, set the stand up. Then I went downstairs at 7:30, got dressed up, and then went to school. And after school, I came back to the store and changed my clothes, and I did some work, and went home, did my homework, and this went on for about 3 years, so I was about 13. And then I went to the chicken market, and I was a poultry man, and I didn't know how to do that. But a friend of mine in school said he wasn't going to that stinking chicken store anymore. He says, it's nasty there. I'm not working any there. I was only making $15 a week, but he was making $37 a week. And he was 6'5", and we were in the 7th grade, and I was going to take his job, and I thought he was going to kill me. He didn't want the job, so I went over to the chicken store, and I said, well, I would like to work because Charlie's not coming in. He says, not, so not. I'll take his. What do you know about chickens? I says, nothing. He says, well, I said, I'll tell you what, you can give me $15 a week. But when I learn everything, I want 37 like him, okay? And so I got the job, and then I cleaned up everything. It looked very nice, and I went downstairs in the basement, cleaning everything up because I looked like dirt around me. And this guy came up and he says, hey, you sing like that all the time? I says, yeah. So he's got a sound system and put in the store. I says, now here, sing. And so I started singing. All the people started coming and buying his chickens. And he had a friend who was at the record company. And Dick Clark needed someone to do something for him. A little impression of Fats Domino and Elvis Presley. And so I went up there and I did Jingle Bells. That's what Dick Clark wanted, someone to sing Jingle Bells, like Elvis and like Fats Domino. And I was on the piano doing my Fats Domino thing. And this lady says, that Chubby? I says, yeah, that's Chubby. She says, Chubby should be Checker. Fats like Chubby and Checker like Domino. She was Mrs. Dick Clark. Oh. She says, I think he's a very nice boy. She says, he looks good. He has a lot of energy, that kid. And then everything changed for some reason. And then I made a record sometimes later. And it was my first song. I was in the 11th grade, and I went to school with Fabian. Went to the same school we did. And Avalon and Bobby Rydell living around the same neighborhood. And I had this song. It was a little hit, and Chubby became Chubby Checker. All my friends in school say, Ernie, is that you? I said, Ernie who? You know Chubby Checker. I said, yeah, it's Chubby. He says, I didn't know. You're Chubby. You're Chubby Checker. Oh, hey, Chubby Checker! in high school. So that's how it all happened. And all these nice things that were given to me by all these nice people, you know. And the Anastasio brothers, his sons now have a produce distribution market at the top of the street, and they distribute produce to the whole Ninth Street, the whole Italian market. And I always talk about, when people help me out, I never forget it. I talk about them all my interviews, and as a result of my interviews, they have a booming business on 9th and Christian Street. You know? And Henry Colt, who got me in the business, and Cal Mann, who wrote all the songs, and Dave Apple, who did all the. I talk about them all the time on all my interviews because these people, you know, with the help of God, put me where I am, and I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful.
That's a phenomenal story. I love how far back that goes. Randomly, one guy takes a shot at you, and then all of a sudden you're Chubby Checker, and there you are. This is a great question. What's the origin of the huckabuck? That's from Anne Marie. Anne Marie really wants to know.
Anne Marie, do you need to go there?
She's from California.
The song of California,
yeah.
I figured that.
Yeah, I know.
Well, I can tell you this. It's the origin of that song started in 1949. The first time I went on tour, I played with a guy named Paul Williams. His name was Paul Hucklebuck Williams. And he had a big orchestra that played for the whole tour. That's when I made that first song. I was in the 11th grade. And he was the guy that did the Hucklebuck. I didn't know his name was Paul Hucklebuck Williams. Da, 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 da. And then Frank Sinatra sang the Hucklebuck. No. Then Ray Anthony and his band did the Hucklebuck, and they didn't have any hits with it. And then we did the Twist, and then we did the Hucklebuck. Had a big hit with the Hucklebuck, but the Hucklebuck was a dance you couldn't do. No. I mean, it was a nasty dance. And we couldn't do the Hucklebuck, so I recorded it, but all those years I never sang it on stage because it was too nasty. And then, you know, as time went on, the 80s and the 90s and all the newspapers and all the nasty things that are going on, I just figured it's time to do the Hucklebuck. And
it became tame.
Yeah. Yes, something mild compared to what's going on out here. So that's how the Hucklebuck came around, and I decided just to go out and sing it, and I, you know something, I enjoy doing that. And Mr. Anne Marie, and you know, it's amazing, a man my age can still do that stuff. Thank you.
She wants you to demonstrate it now, but I don't know.
Anne Marie, go get back.
I tell you what, Anne Marie, we'll see if we can.
No, I do it when I'm on stage because that's the only time it really comes on. I don't, you know. Well, with my wife, I do that. Okay, next.
Tonight's episode will be airing from 11 to midnight only. Chubby Checker After Dark. All access, folks. I'm going to take you right into the next aspect of that. I know for a fact, and I should say I've been told by people that are close to you that, in fact, you're very proud of the twist and the fact that it was one of the first dances that was kind of the opposite of that. People could do the twist in public and not just the huckabuck.
Right, true. Twist is probably the most important song in the music industry because of what it has brought us. The twist, I always compare it to the electric light because once it came to us, we never let it go. Almost like a telephone. Once we got it, never gonna let it go. The twist gave us a style on the dance floor that once people got a hold of it, they never let it go. And the reason why, the light lights up the room, the phone gets your voice where it wants to go. When you do the twist, you're looking at the girl is looking at you, and you're both doing something. You're exploiting your sexuality while being fully dressed. This is an amazing discovery. I mean, people are probably doing it for years and years, but the point is, we never put it to music and called it something. So our style of dancing, the twist is the #1 song in the world today. In other words, no matter what song you've heard since you've been born, and whatever song was sung since God put us on the planet, the twist is the #1 song of all time. It is. Yeah.
I can.
And also, the twist from 1958 to 2008, because Hank Ballard wrote and recorded that song, from 2058 to 2008, the twist is voted the first #1 song of all time. Now, in 2013, Billboard magazine gave the twist the title for being the #1 song from 1958 to 2013. #1 every year for 55 years in a row. Then, now the next time this event takes place will be in 2063. And until that time gets here, the twist will be #1 for 105 years. The twist is the #1 song of the 60s decade. Now, when we talk about the twist, I want to show you, talk about the twist, and you're looking at the girl, and the girl's looking at you, and you're doing this, of course. You're doing this. Now what we did after we did the twist, we did the pony. Okay? Now, we did it, it looked like this, didn't it? Didn't it? Now, as time went on, they just slowed it down because kids get lazy. So they slowed it down. And when they slowed it down, we got into breakdancing because this became so sexy that you could do all kinds of things like, oh.
That lady just dropped her glass. She got so excited. I heard that.
And all these things that you could do to the pony. And by the way, there's a new wave called hip hop. What does a pony do? I think hip hop's doesn't he? And the rappers, they get real nasty with it. And folks, if you throw your hands in the air and wave them like you just don't care, what is this called? That's what it's called the fly. And all they did is slowed it down. You can't do the fly, and you can't do the fly unless you do the shake. So what they did the twist, the fly, shake, and mixed them all up. And that's what you got. Okay. All right.
I think everyone in this room just got more than they bargained for from this interview. We're going to send you off, but as we do, I do want to say that I think one of the great quotes regarding you of all time, Dick Clark said, the 3 most important things to ever happen to music, period, Elvis, the Beatles, and Chubby Checker. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being with us here today. Have a great night. This is All Access Pass with the fabulous Chubby Checker.